the ocean. It's vast, powerful, beautiful, but still so much unknown territory down there.
Absolutely. Earth's biggest mystery, really.
Exactly. And today we're going to dive into some of the ocean's most, baffling and honestly chilling unsolved mysteries. These aren't just stories people made up, These are documented things, events from different sources we've looked at that really blur that line between what's real and what's legend.
Mm-hmm. And the ocean itself is the perfect place for secrets, isn't it? The depth, the pressure. Mm-hmm. It just naturally conceals things. And like you said, these are actual accounts from the materials, which just highlights how much we don't know about what's under the surface.
Okay, so let's start with the first one. The SS Baychimo. People often call it the ghost ship of the Arctic.
Okay.
It's a steel cargo steamer built way back in 1914. After some early work, it went to the Hudson's Bay Company in 1921. And for nearly a decade, it did these really successful runs along the Canadian North Coast, collecting furs from trading posts. Made a lot of money.
Right, a workhorse ship for its time.
Totally. But then, October 1st, 1931, end of a run, ships loaded with valuable fur. And bam, it gets stuck.
Yeah.
Trapped solid in pack ice. The crew actually abandoned ship for a bit, trekked over the ice to borrow for shelter.
Must have been terrifying.
Oh, absolutely. They went back after 2 days, found the ship had somehow broken free. Amazing luck, right?
Yeah, short-lived luck, I guess.
Exactly. They got back on board, but pretty soon after, it got trapped again, even worse this time. So by mid-October, the company flew out 22 crew members, but 15 guys stayed behind. Tough guys.
Intending to wait out the winter.
Yeah, they built a little wooden shelter nearby. But then, end of November 24th, this massive blizzard hits.
Yeah.
Just ferocious. And when the storm cleared, the Baychimo was gone. Vanished.
Gone. So the captain figured it sank?
Yeah, I mean, what else could he think? He assumed it broke up in the storm, went down. Makes sense.
But this is where it gets weird, right?
Oh, yeah. He gets really weird. Didn't sink. Just a few days later, an Inuit seal hunter spots it. Like 45 miles away.
Wow. So the crew found it again.
They did. They track it down, grabbed the best furs, the most valuable stuff they could carry, figured it wouldn't survive the winter anyway, and just left it. Abandoned for good.
And still it didn't sink.
Nope. It just drifted. For almost 40 years. Can you believe that?
Oh, more years.
Seriously. It was spotted again and again, totally unmanned, just sailing around the Arctic, getting stuck in ice, breaking free, moving on. People tried to board it, salvage attempts. But something always went wrong. Either they didn't have the right gear or bad weather drove them off. Every single time.
That's incredible, just sailing on its own.
The last time anyone recorded seeing it was in 1969. A group of Inuit saw it stuck in the ice again off the Alaskan coast. That was 38 years after it was abandoned.
And after that, nothing.
Nothing confirmed. Its final fate, still unknown. The Alaskan government even launched a project back in 2006 to try and find it, on the surface or the seabed. But last update in 2020, still missing. The ghost ship of the Arctic.
It's just the sheer persistence of it and the legal questions it must have raised, too. A ship owned by no one, just drifting for decades. Really speaks to the power and mystery of the Arctic, doesn't it?
Definitely. Okay, let's shift locations. From the freezing Arctic to the shores of Japan for our next one. This is a legend called Utsuro-bune. Means hollow boat. Mm-hmm. And it's not just one story. It pops up in 3 different old manuscripts. The Garden of Rabbits diaries, stories of castaways, and peach powder, all written around the same time.
So multiple sources describing the same event. Interesting.
Yeah, and they all point to this specific date, February 22nd, 1803. Some fishermen in the Hitachi region, they see this really strange boat floating near the shore in the Pacific.
Strange how?
Well, the descriptions are weirdly specific. It was like capsule-shaped, maybe 11 feet high, 18 feet wide, made of wood, shaped like an incense burner, they said. And the bottom had copper plates, maybe for protection against rocks. It even had glass windows held in with resin. Very unusual for the time.
Okay, that is specific, and they got it ashore.
They managed to pull it in. And inside, well, first they saw weird writing on the walls, a language nobody recognized. Then they found supplies, water, food, bedding, carpets, and a young woman.
A woman inside this strange craft.
Yeah, described as maybe 18, 20 years old, pale skin, red hair, red eyebrows. But the hair had these like white extensions woven in, made of maybe skin or fabric. Very strange. Wearing clothes they didn't recognize either. And the most critical part, she was clutching this box, a light-colored box.
Clutching it.
Tightly. And she would not let anyone touch it. Wouldn't speak, couldn't communicate, just held onto that box.
Wow. So a strange boat, strange symbols, a silent woman with strange features holding a mysterious box. What did the fishermen do? That must have been unsettling, to say the
It was
least.
totally unsettling. They couldn't talk to her. They were probably scared, confused.
Understandably.
So their decision was, well, maybe not the best one in hindsight. They basically just pushed the boat with her inside back out to sea.
They sent her away.
Yep, just let her drift off again.
Yeah.
Now, when word got around, people started speculating, of course. Maybe she was royalty from somewhere far away, exiled for adultery. That was one theory.
Okay.
Another idea was that the box she was holding maybe contained her lover's head. Grim stuff.
Yikes. So it became this local legend.
Exactly. And it's stuck around. Historians, anthropologists, even UFO researchers have looked into it over the centuries. Some say, okay, it's just folklore. Japanese myths often have strange things coming from the sea,
That's a common motif.
but others, they see it as maybe one of the earliest accounts of, like alien contact. They compare the symbols to other supposed UFO sites, the boat shape to flying saucers.
It's quite a leap, but you can see how the details fuel that kind of speculation. The unknown language, the advanced seeming craft for 1803, the unusual appearance of the woman. But equally, it could be a distorted account of a foreign visitor, perhaps Russian, given the time period and geography, or purely symbolic folklore. The mystery is what makes it endure, I suppose. What was in that box?
We'll never know. Okay, let's jump forward to much more recent times, but just as baffling. The High Aim 6, this one got called a modern-day Mary Celeste, which tells you something. It was a fishing boat, a longliner, left Taiwan October 31st, 2002.
Okay, so 21st century.
Yeah. Then, January 8th, 2003, the Australian Navy finds it just adrift. No crew. Way out there, 80 nautical miles off Brawley Shoals.
Adrift and empty, like the Mary Celeste.
Exactly like that. They board it, and it's weird. The engine's on full throttle, but the main fuel tank is empty. But there's no distress signal. No sign of a struggle, no damage. And all the crew's personal stuff, still there.
Like what kind of stuff?
Toothbrushes, cigarettes, coffee, captain's glasses, clothes, papers. Everything you'd expect people living on a boat to have.
Yeah.
Neatly stored, plenty of reserve fuel, tons of food and water left. But the crew vanished.
Poof.
That is deeply strange. Engine running, personal items left behind. What did the authorities think initially? Piracy.
Well, they first wondered about illegal immigrants maybe being transported, but that theory died fast.
Because they checked the hold. And it was full of fish. 10 tons of perfectly good bonito tuna, refrigerated. Valuable cargo.
Right. So whatever happened, it was sudden. They didn't even take the catch.
Exactly. Swift, unexpected departure. So they launched a huge search, covered over 7,000 nautical miles, found absolutely nothing. No sign of the crew. The boat's owner said he last talked to the captain back in December 2002. But then, investigators found something crucial.
What was that?
Phone records. They show that the boat's engineer's cell phone was still being used to make local calls in Indonesia, more than a week after the Navy found the empty boat adrift.
Whoa. Okay, that changes things. So someone from the crew was alive and in Indonesia.
It seemed that way. The Taiwanese police looked at this and their conclusion was probable mutiny.
A mutiny.
That was the theory. And the Indonesian police, following up on those phone calls, actually managed to track down one of the crew members. There were believed to be 10 in total.
And what did he say? Did he spill the beans?
Sort of. He apparently claimed that some of the other crew members had killed the captain and the engineer back on December 8th.
Killed them. Why?
That's the thing. He claimed they killed them and then just went home. But he never gave a clear reason why. No motive, no details about how they took over the boat. It was all very vague.
So a confession of murder and mutiny, but no explanation. That's unsatisfying. And the other crew members?
Never found, as far as the records show. The boat itself, the High Aim 6, got towed to Brune in Australia. Sat there for a year, kind of a morbid tourist spot. People hoped it might become a dive wreck, but eventually it was just broken up, taken to landfill.
So the boat's gone, most of the crew are missing, and the full story of what happened out there, the reason for the mutiny, the exact circumstances of the deaths, remains a total mystery.
Pretty much. Another secret swallowed by the sea.
It really is disturbing. A crime happening in that isolated environment. It's like a locked room mystery, but the room is the entire ocean. Echoes so many older sea mysteries.
Speaking of older mysteries,
Yeah.
our next one sounds like it was ripped straight from a horror film script. The English schooner Jenny left the Isle of Wight, England, in 1822, sailed off, and then nothing. Presumed lost with all hands. Standard maritime tragedy happens all the time.
Okay, so presumed lost, but
Yeah.
found later.
Found much later, 18 years later. September 1840. A whaling ship, the Hope, is sailing through the Drake Passage, that notoriously rough water between South America and Antarctica.
Right, treacherous waters.
And they find the Jenny, but it's not floating normally. It's completely frozen solid into an ice barrier, like entombed in ice.
Frozen in ice, the whole ship.
The whole ship. The Hope's captain, a guy named Brighton, sends a boarding party over, and what they find is just gruesome. The extreme Antarctic cold had perfectly preserved the bodies of the entire crew.
Perfectly preserved.
Like statues made of ice, scattered around the ship, just frozen in their last moments. And the captain, they found him frozen at his desk in his cabin. Logbook open in front of him.
Oh God, the logbook? Did it say what happened?
It did. Captain Brighton read the last entry. It was dated May 4th, 1823. It read, "No food for 71 days. I am the only one left alive."
71 days without food. Just unimaginable. A slow, freezing, starving death. Alone.
Absolutely chilling. Captain Brighton took the logbook and mentioned their last port was in Peru, intending to return it. But they made no attempt to recover the bodies. Too difficult, maybe too gruesome.
Understandable, I suppose. So the story comes from Captain Brighton's account.
Well, here's a slight catch. The story didn't actually surface publicly until 1862. It appeared anonymously in a German magazine called Globus.
So an anonymous account decades later, that does raise some questions about its complete accuracy, doesn't it?
It does. Makes you wonder if details got embellished over time. But there seems to be some kernel of truth, or at least a lasting legacy. There's a place near where it was supposedly found, King George Island in the South Shetlands. There's a rock formation there called the Jenny Buttress, named specifically in memory of the ship and her crew.
So there's a physical landmark connected to the story. That lends it some weight.
It does. But the ship itself, and those poor souls frozen like ice statues, their location remains unknown, possibly still out there, locked in the Antarctic ice.
Wow. The ultimate cold case, literally, frozen in time. It's such a macabre image, the ship as an ice tomb, really underscores how the ocean, especially in polar regions, can preserve things in the most unsettling way.
Okay, let's shift tone now from these tales of, disappearance and death to something completely different but equally mind-bending. This involves life itself and its incredible resilience. Back in July 2020, a study came out in Nature Communications. Huge news in the science world.
You're talking about the ancient microbes, right?
Exactly. Scientists successfully found, retrieved, and then revived microbes that were 100 million years old.
100 million? That number is just staggering. Where did they find them?
Deep, deep beneath the seabed in the South Pacific. They were in ancient sediment samples, laid down during the age of dinosaurs. And what's really wild is this area isn't even nutrient-rich. It's considered a bit of a marine desert, low energy.
So, not exactly a thriving environment. How did they revive them?
The team, mostly from the Japan Agency for Marine Earth Science and Technology, JAMSTEC, they took these sediment cores and basically incubated them, gently coaxed them back to life out of this incredibly long sleep.
Epochs spanning slumber, as they put it. And it worked.
It worked astonishingly well. These microorganisms, after 100 million years in basically suspended animation, they started to eat, grow, and even divide again.
Divide, like reproduce.
Yep. And it wasn't just a few. They found that nearly all the microbes they detected in those ancient layers could be revived.
That's incredible. It completely changes our understanding of survival, doesn't it? Primitive life forms existing for geological timescales with almost no food or oxygen, just waiting in this super low energy state.
Right. The research essentially concluded there seems to be no age limit for organisms in the subseafloor biosphere. Tiny traces of oxygen trapped in the sediment were apparently enough to let them survive for, potentially billions of years, using almost zero energy, millions of times less energy than microbes on the surface use.
Billions. That's almost inconceivable. But while we know that they survived, do we know how? The exact biological mechanism for that kind of longevity.
That's still the big mystery, isn't it?
Yeah.
How exactly do they manage it? What biological tricks allow them to persist for so long in such harsh conditions?
We know they can, but the how is the next frontier.
Exactly. But this discovery, even though it's not a ghost ship or a weird visitor, it's profound. It suggests life might be possible in the most extreme, inhospitable places we can imagine.
Not just on Earth, but potentially elsewhere. Mars, Europa, places we thought might be sterile. This opens up huge possibilities.
It really does. And it brings us back, in a way, to the ocean as this incubator of the unknown. Whether it's ships sailing without crews, strange visitors washing ashore, or life itself sleeping for 100 million years. The deep just keeps surprising us.
It's a constant source of wonder and mystery.
So we've covered quite a range today. Ghost ships like the Baychimo, the really enigmatic Utsuro-bune, modern mysteries like the High Aim 6, the chilling tale of the Jenny, and this incredible ancient life. It really shows, doesn't it? The ocean is still holding on to so many secrets.
It absolutely does. And maybe a final thought for you, our listeners, to ponder. What else is down there? What other stories, what other forms of life are just waiting in the depths? What do these mysteries tell us about how much we think we know versus the vastness of what we actually don't?
Great point. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into some truly fascinating ocean mysteries. We hope these stories stick with you and make you think about those hidden depths.